On the runway, Flight 011 is close to takeoff.
Eva 32, give way to Air France.
Once the aircraft is ready for departure, the local or departure controller takes over from the ground controller. Steve Abraham will depart our flight tonight.
Madame, Monsieur, bonsoir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eric Prévost. I'm your captain on this flight to Paris Charles de Gaulle.
Paris Charles de Gaulle.
Air France 011 Heavy Kennedy Tower, caution white turbulence from right 2 right, short and Yankee Alpha, line up on wing.
There is an aircraft taking off somewhere in the world every second of the day. And despite the crew's native language, they almost always speak to air traffic control in English, although air traffic jargon seems a language of its own.
Air France 1600, bonjour, roulez Echo 5, Roméo, point d'arrêt Tango, 10, piste 26 droite.
Air jargon is a simple 300-word language designed to be understood by everybody, whatever their native language is.
Tango, Alpha, Lima, Golf, Oscar.
Waiting A243, turn left Romeo Bravo.
So everyone agrees. For the letter A, you say Alpha, L is Lima, T is Tango, etc. But it all does sound strange.
1 at Golf, 1 at Hotel, 1 at Juliet.
On the runway, our flight is being directed by Steve in the tower. But within minutes of takeoff, it will be followed by other controllers. From beginning to end, from takeoff to landing in Paris, the flight will always be followed.
FedEx 1276 Heavy, cross runway 13 left at Charlie Delta, then taxi right Bravo, short.
France 011 Heavy, wind 0803, runway 22 right, shortened at Yankee Alpha, clear for takeoff.
Right. Kennedy Tower, caution white turbulence, runway 13 right, pulling, bottom right. Bottom white, 13 right, pulling,
Takeoff.
416.
First set. Positive climb.
Nice. That's working it. Aircraft 011 Heavy, heading 155.
Air France 011 Heavy, contact New York departure. Good night.
On the East Coast, there's fine weather above Boston.
After passing by Boston, Air France 011 enters Canadian airspace, heading towards Moncton, New Brunswick. With a vast landmass situated between North America, Asia, and Europe, thousands of flights pass through Canada every day. As a result, the country has developed one of the most sophisticated air traffic control systems in the world. It's run by an agency called NAV Canada. On the outskirts of Moncton, New Brunswick, in a low brick building, are the people who will guide our flight over Canadian airspace. These en route controllers are not in a tower. There are no windows. The lighting is subdued and unchanging.
Kennedy 71 Heavy, Moncton Center, good.
I'm an en route controller in a high level airspace in Moncton Area Control Center, meaning I control 29,000 feet and above, mostly handling flights that are about to transit the Atlantic Ocean, whether coming from Europe or going to Europe from North America. This phase of air traffic control generally tends to be the unknown or the hidden side of it. Again, we don't work in a tower. We don't see the airplanes per se. We're looking at radar screens. We're in a more dimly lit room, talking through communication tools that we don't see those airplanes at all.
Air France 011, contact Moncton Center 135.2.
Moncton Center, good evening, Air France 011 AV, CPDLC, flight level 370.
Air France 011 Heavy, Moncton Center, good evening. Reports of light chop. All flight levels for level 410 and below for the next 30 minutes.
Copy the 011.
Over land, controllers still rely on ground-based radar to know where a plane is. But NAV Canada's using a more advanced tool called ADS. With ADS, the airplane on its own will send data to air traffic control. Our flight will have 3,000 kilometers of ocean to cross. For more than 2 hours, it will be completely off any radar screen. Like everyone else, our crew wants the optimal altitude and speed. En route controllers keep everyone in a safe and spaced order.
In the sky, they don't have on-ramps and off-ramps and things like that. It is an open sky and stuff. So the controller's kind of taken some of that responsibility on who goes first, who comes second, the merging and the sequencing of those aircraft.
It's complicated work with lives at stake. How does anybody learn how to do this? In Canada, everyone goes through a long recruitment and training process. There is classroom time, but much work goes on here. This could be any control tower in Canada, but it's not. It's a simulator, one of the many high-tech gadgets that Canada and many other countries use to train controllers.
This is a VFR simulator to simulate traffic in a tower environment. This is where they get to demonstrate their abilities to move on to the next stage of training in an actual tower.
In the simulator, the student learns to deal with all kinds of situations. Weather, like fog, snow, storms, they have to learn to handle them all.
This simulator is realistic to the point where it creates the scenarios to a level that the students are continually learning, so that when they go to an actual tower, they've demonstrated a certain level of competency where they're ready to grow towards becoming a successful air traffic controller. If they don't do it right, they won't move on to the next stage of training. In the real world, of course, there's real lives on the line.
Quarter Air 249er, exit left Bravo, contact ground 1219er, went on.
As part of their training, controllers learn how to deal with the pressures of their job. NAV Canada has an innovative approach that aims to keep its employees focused and energetic. All air traffic controllers have rooms for naps, massages once a week, and even a small gym for a stress-reducing workout.
I'm 23 and I've been qualified for a little over 3 years now. So I've been working by myself for 3 years, and I think I trained for a year and a half prior to that.
Siobhan Brown is an air traffic controller in Moncton. For her, this is a family business.
I think the reason I chose air traffic control was just, well, my grandfather did it, my father does it. So I applied and it went from there. It's like a puzzle. You get to look at specific scenarios and pick a solution and execute it.
Monarch 349 Roger, and about 10 minutes ahead, some reports of light chop.
It's about planning, and you get to choose what you do every time. So it's nice to be able to solve your own problems without having to ask a manager or someone who's above you if you're allowed to do something. You just have to keep your head up, and every time there's a setback and a problem, you just think about it, learn from it, and move on. United 63 Moncton Center, good day.
Meanwhile, our flight now heads out over the ocean.
At the moment, we're above the area of Gander, and their ground radar knows our exact position.
Over the ocean, Flight 011 will be tracked by a Canadian en route center, located in Gander, Newfoundland. It's the largest transoceanic control center in the world.
What we do here in Gander is we take flights basically from North America in the evening, and they fly across to Europe. They drop off their passengers and load back up, and they come back during the daytime. And our job is to get those planes over as efficiently as we can.
All the planes that are crossing the Atlantic going to Europe want a good spot, riding the high winds of the jet stream. This powerful wind will save both time and money.
Here in Gander, we've designed tracks. It's almost like road maps. They all join these little tracks and they fly across. It helps us as controllers get them across efficiently and get the most planes at the best levels possible. There's a lot more going on in the North Atlantic than people would probably realize. They say there's 1,000 flights a day, 500 east, 500 west. It's a 24-hour operation, 7 days a week. When we issue an aircraft a clearance, we have to plan the traffic so that they're separated by 10 minutes each. When an aircraft passes point A, if he goes by at a certain time, the next aircraft can't pass that point for the next 10 minutes. It's somewhere between 60 and 80 miles, depending on their speed, of course. So we are kind of guessing they should be here at this point. We don't have an exact position.
The way it works is that there are gateways at the beginning and the end of the ocean crossing. And to ensure there's enough space between aircraft, I need to show up at the exact spot stated on the flight plan at a precise time, velocity, and altitude, and then maintain my speed. You see, all aircraft must rigorously maintain their designated airspeed in order to keep the correct spacing all the way across the Atlantic.
To help airplanes to get to the other side of the ocean has been Gander's mission from the beginning. Gander Airport was built in 1939, just in time for the Second World War. Airplanes needed to refuel here after crossing the Atlantic, and for a while it was the largest airport in the world with 4 immense runways. And those 4 large runways were put to a surprising use on the 11th of September 2001.
There's the plane, you can't miss that.
That's when the U.S. closed down its airspace.
There was a lot of confusion, a lot of panic. I'm sure in the cockpits it was crazy. Our airport up here, I think we had 40-odd planes land.
Dozens of aircraft that were heading to the U.S. were forced to land in Gander. Even in its heyday, the airport had never seen anything like it.
The population of Gander, I think they say, almost doubled. We had about 10,000 people land here that day, which was amazing. Personally, down south, that was the busiest day I've ever had. I think I was the busiest guy in the world that day.